There ain't no man can't save me. There ain't no man can enslave me. Ain't no man or man that can change the shape my soul is in. There ain't nobody here who can cause me pain, erase my fear, cause I got only love to share. If you're looking for truth, I'm proof, you'll find it there. You got to serve something, ain't that right? I know it gets dark, but there's always a light. You don't have to buy in to get into the club. Trade your worries. You gotta show up if you wanna be seen. If it matters to you, ma, it matters to me. I'm gonna fall hard, yeah, I know I am. When the clouds crack up, I laugh with them. There ain't no man can't save me. There ain't no man can enslave me. Ain't no man or man that can change the shape my soul is in. There ain't nobody here who can cause me pain, erase my fear, cause I got only love to share. If you're looking for truth, I'm proof, you'll find it there. You say you look funny, I say you're a star. I say you're whatever you think you are. Watching naysayers fall right in line. If we believe it, they'll say, she is so pretty, he is so fine. There ain't no man can't save me. There ain't no man can enslave me. Ain't no man or man that can change the shape my soul is in. There ain't nobody here who can cause me pain, erase my fear, cause I got only love to share. If you're looking for truth, I'm proof, you'll find it there. You got to go somewhere, ain't that true? Not a whole lot of time for me or you. Got a whole lot of reasons to be mad, let's not pick one. I live in a room at the top of the stairs, got my windows wide open and nobody cares. And I got no choice but to get right up when the sun comes through. Ain't no man can't save me. There ain't no man can enslave me. There ain't no man or man that can change the shape my soul is in. There ain't nobody here who can cause me pain, erase my fear, cause I got only love to share. If you're looking for truth, I'm proof, you'll find it there. If you're looking for truth, I'm proof, you'll find it there. If you're looking for truth, I'm proof, you'll find it.
It's an education that you can't pay for. How to get up again and try. It's an education that you can't pay for. How to look me in the eye. It's an education that you can't pay for. How to get back and fight. Here's an education that you can't pay for. How to say goodbye. If you haven't figured out by now, I guess the pain's gonna show you how. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. You lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself and you come undone when you love someone. And you love someone. Yeah. Most things we're doing in this life are gonna kill you in the end. Most things we're doing in this life are gonna kill you in the end. And the things we're fighting for are the things that you can't defend. Most things we're doing in this life are gonna kill me in the end. If you haven't learned that lesson yet, the scars are teachers that you're never gonna forget. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. You lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself and you come undone when you love someone. Yeah, you love someone. Yeah, you love someone. Oh, you love someone. Yeah, you love someone. Oh, you love someone. All right. Every breath is a contradiction. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Oxygen, the tide of life and breath and death. You breathe it in. 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 You lose yourself when you love someone. Yeah, you lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself and you come undone when you love someone. Don't you love someone? Yeah, oh, you lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself when you love someone. You lose yourself. Ego starts to run when you love someone. When you love someone. And I love someone. Yeah, I love someone. I'm trying to find where my place is. I'm looking for my own oasis. So close I can taste this. The fear that love alone erases. So I'm back to the basics. I figure it's time I face this. Time to take my own advice. Love alone is worth the fight. Love alone is worth the fight. And I never thought I'd come to this, but it seems like I'm finally feeling numb to this. The funny thing about a name is you forget what the reason you were playing the game is. And it's all an illusion, a 21st century institution. And so I'm headed down the open road unknown. And we find what we're made of through the open door. Is it fear you're afraid of? What are you waiting for? Love alone is worth the fight. Love alone is worth the fight. Only here for a season. I'm looking for the rhyme and reason. Are you born? Why you leaving? What you fearing? What you believing? Why you living and breathing? Why you fighting it and getting it even? Let's go headed down the open road unknown.
Good evening, and thank you for coming to the Vero Extreme Football League 2021 awards ceremony. We're about to get started tonight, so if you guys could take your seats, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. All right, before we start, I want to thank some of our sponsors tonight who can make tonight happen. Masters Academy and Pathway Church for providing such a great venue and such great resources, as well as our tech team in the back, JP and April. They're doing a great job, been helping us all day. Yeah, thank you. As we get started, I'd like to welcome Dr. Wayne Smith, the headmaster of Masters Academy, to come up and share about his ministry at the local church and the school, and just how they've shared the gospel, shared God, but also provided great school and great atmosphere here on this campus. So, Dr. Smith.
Thank you. Good evening. Well done. I want to congratulate Peyton and Preston for putting on a great league. I'm impressed. Excellent job. Well done to all the supporters, the coaches, the participants. I came out a couple of Saturdays and watched briefly, and you guys were all in. I mean, you weren't out there just for a little run on a Saturday afternoon. You were working hard and playing hard, and I'm impressed. And so well done to a great league. Thank you, Peyton and Preston, for including Masters Academy and Pathway Church, for including us in this venture, for using the facilities, for putting us on banners and letterheads and back of T-shirts. We appreciate that. So just for about 60 seconds, Masters Academy is a 3-year-old to 12th grade Christian school. We're college prep, but we recognize that not every student is college bound. So we have programs and tracks for students that are going to go into college, that will not go to college. People think of a private Christian school as expensive. But there's scholarships available, and if you're interested, if you know somebody that's interested in a private education, come and talk to us, and let's see if we can work something out. I'm convinced that God calls people to attend particular schools, and maybe God is nudging you or somebody that you know that would be interested in a Christian education. What we do is we teach math and science and history and all of the other core subjects, but we teach them from a biblical Christian perspective. And so thank you again for hosting this. Thank you for including us in this league. Congratulations again for a great venture. I'm proud of you guys, and excellent job. Thank you.
All right, as some more players and families make their way in, we have a quick video to get you guys ready for the rest of the night. There's going to be exciting times, a lot of awards to give out, so I hope you guys are ready. And JP, if you'll put the video on.
VXFL, Vero Extreme Football League. 96 players, 8 teams, all striving for a 7.4-pound hollowed relic we call a trophy. But for what? This isn't the NFL, MLB, or NBA. There's no Tom Brady or LeBron James to be found. No paid players or billionaire owners. No luxurious stadium or television contracts. So what makes the VXFL so special?
That is picked off by Peter!
Wixon! Peter Wixon's going!
Peter's going all the way!
What makes it extreme? I would argue it's the unequivocal passion brought by every player. It's Tim Brown, Jarrett Wolf, and Jackson Gravely. It's Parker Townsend, Stephen Delory, and Dylan Goldfarb. It's the bonds that have formed. It's the competitiveness and perseverance. It's concussions, broken bones, and broken spirits. It's the dedication and resilience of each team, and the pride instilled in each victory. It's the aces, pioneers, hustlers, goblins, hunters, dimes, giraffes, and hammers. Except tonight, it's not. Tonight we celebrate the individuals who have firmly established themselves among VXFL greats. We recognize the dazzling performances and jaw-dropping plays, the iconic moments that will live forever in the hearts of so many. Unfortunately, there are only 4 individuals who will walk away with the illustrious hardware tonight. Only 4 who will etch their names into the history books. Only 4 that will stand out amongst their peers. Only 4.
It's not going to be long. We'll be giving out those coveted awards right here to my left. We have a lot of players here tonight who have earned them, but only a few will be able to take them home. But congratulations to everyone who's played in the league. It's been a great time. I know for me, I hope for you as well. And we're going to eat before we get to those awards. So if you guys would bow your heads with me, we'll pray over the food and get to the meal. God, thank you for letting us all get here tonight and make it through this great season. I know we still have 1 week left, so keep us safe. But just keep our eyes on you, keep our focus on you to glorify you as we play this last week of football. I thank you for what the league has been for this community, for all the players, and for me personally. I pray that you keep using it in others' lives and my life as well. Please bless the food as we eat and give us a great rest of the night. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, we're going to start with the left side. So if those first 3 tables right there will go and get their food. Yes. Miss Laura will guide you. Yep. Time 6:15. Good. All right. All right, if you guys want to.
Here I am confessing again. I know I've let you down. I've said it 1,000 times, never again starts now. I've slept through so many days, I've wasted so much time. Can't solve it with a song, can't fix it with a rhyme, so I'll try to be honest with myself again. But I can feel just so uncomfortable in my skin. No, you told me that you love me, but I don't remember when. Oh, oh, oh. Feel like I was so much wiser when I was 17. Saw the world in just 2 shades, didn't stand in the in-between. If the man I was back then saw who I am right now, wonder if he'd be disappointed in how he would turn out. So I'll try to be honest with myself again. But I can feel just so uncomfortable in my skin. No, you told me that you love me, but I don't remember when. Oh, 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 oh.
say, child, stop listening to yourself so much. I've made you more than worthy of my love. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that's enough. Whoa, child, if you could see yourself the way that I do, you'd see I made you in my image and my work's not through. All the dance on this disappointment in a world made new. Whoa. Dick, can I serve the kind of light that might persuade a strict dictator to retire? Fire the army, teach the poor origami. The truth is in the proof is when you hear your heart start asking what's my motivation. And try as you may, there isn't a way to explain the kind of change that'd make an Eskimo reader fur, that'd make a vegetarian barbecue hamster. Less you can trace this about face to a certain sign. Shine, make 'em wonder what you got. Make 'em wish that they were not on the outside looking boy. Shine, let it shine before all men. Let 'em see good works in men. Let 'em glorify the Lord. Out of the shaker and onto the plate, it isn't karma, it sure ain't fate. That'd make a deadhead sell his van. That'd make a schizophrenic turn in his crayon. Over freaks and science seeks a rationale that shall excuse his strange behavior. When you let it shine, you will inspire the kind of entire turnaround that'll make a bouncer take ballet. Even bouncers who aren't happy, but out of the glare with nowhere to turn, you ain't gonna learn it. I'll watch my line. Shine, make 'em wonder what you got. Make 'em wish that they were not on the outside looking boy. Shine, let it shine before on the outside looking bored. Shine, let it shine before all men. Let them see good works and then let them glorify the Lord. Shine, make them wonder what you got. Make them wish that they were not on the outside looking bored. Shine, let it shine before all men. Let them see good works and then let them glorify the Lord. Shine.
I just wanna say I'm hopeless without you. I've searched far and wide to find that it doesn't get any better than this. And I just wanna say I'm sorry for running in circles with my sin and shame when you told me to run to your love. And I just wanna say that I'm grateful for all of the ways you never left me behind. Oh, how irresponsible your love. And I just wanna praise your name for all of the ways you keep chasing my heart. Oh, how irresponsible your love. And I don't know why I'm inclined to run and hide. I build mountains in my mind so high to find they never stood a chance to you. Love. My highest heights are never enough. From heaven to hell, might as well just give up. Yeah, where could I go that you won't? Where could I run that you don't? None of my lows are too low for how deep that you'll go. So Father, I just wanna say that I'm grateful for all of the ways you never left me behind. Oh, how irresponsible your love. I just wanna praise your name for all of the ways you keep chasing my heart. Oh, how irresponsible your love.
You know my deep desire is to feed the fire of the evil liar in me. I don't wanna see Messiah, I just bleed till I'm weak and tired. Steaming high in the deepest fire, and I'm reaching wider just to be admired by the people higher than me. But somehow you reacquire and inspire my soul. I see the choir and the light up, oh, I'm pedaling. I get too comfortable, that's when I settle in. Really the medicine. There's no one our weakness is right where he medicine. I'm so good at meddling in my sins, should win a medal in it. Holy water kettle with it. We've been filling up our pockets with the lettuce and relish, but still you let us relish in you. I've been in a mix with evil. I don't know why I feel I gotta get deceitful just to get the seats full. Compromising for 1 million views, pitiful, minuscule. I walk from Texas to Tennessee and burn a hole in my tennis shoe. Just to run for your love, but you still hunt me down like it's 10 of you. Break me down in the loop. I need the wisdom of Solomon, Timothy, Paul, and the prophet just to get to the altar and send to the heart of my calling. I've been spending my time to resemble the heart of my father, but it's getting harder with this armor, so I build walls to keep you out, but you fear no obstacle. Your love for me put you to death, and that's so irresponsible.
I just wanna say that I'm grateful for all of the ways you never left me behind. Oh, how irresponsible your love. I just wanna praise your name for all of the ways you keep chasing my heart. Oh, how irresponsible your love. So irresponsible.
God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. Oh, I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing
It's okay to fear. It's okay when you feel small, and you're okay right here. And it's okay when you feel nothing at all. And it's okay to find out what you thought you had ain't what you got. And it's okay to doubt, to learn what you think ain't what you thought. And we are always in motion, like the winds and tides of ocean. And every day I'm born again, I wake up, I feel that second wind. We're gonna be alright, we're gonna be alright. I see the look in your eye. We're gonna be alright. I said we're gonna be alright, we're gonna be alright. Just take a look at the sky. We're gonna be alright. Oh, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to learn to fall, and it's okay to believe, to admit that you're human after all. And it's okay to heal all the scars that are buried deep inside. And it's okay to feel, to say all the things you've been trying to hide. And we are always in motion, like the winds and tides of ocean. And every day I'm born again, I wake up, I feel that second wind. We're gonna be alright.
How about Cafe 66? Yeah. It's pretty good, right? Yeah, we think so too. Also, a special offer for everyone here. We have programs on sale for $3 or 2 for $5. So if you want to buy a program, it has all the rosters in there, just a little bit about the VXFL in the season. So they're right over there. You can go buy one for $3 or 2 for $5. Also, if you're still hungry, you can go back and get seconds now. So, Clip, you're welcome.
I'm not afraid of the dark, but I used to be that little kid hiding under covers every time the lights turned out. That was then, this is now. And the monsters ain't in the closet. The stuff that scares me most is hiding right outside my front door. 'Cause I've grown up and gotten stronger, but my problems got bigger too. As days go by, I'm brought to realize that I'll never stop needing you. So I bow my head, say my prayers, I'm asking you for strength. I can't make it on my own, there ain't no way. I used to run away from home when life got too hard. Retreat to that tree line down the road, under a night sky full of stars. Man, I've come so far. I don't even live in that house anymore. But if I'm being honest, I'm still running in my heart. 'Cause I've grown up and gotten stronger, but my problems got bigger too. As days go by, I'm proud to realize that I'll never stop needing you. So I bow my head and say my prayers, I'm asking you for strength. I can't make it on my own, there ain't no way. Ooh, Father, I've grown up and gotten stronger, but my problems got bigger too. As days go by, I'm brought to realize that I'll never stop needing you. So I bow my head and say my prayers. I'm asking you for strength. I can't make it on my own. There ain't no way. I'm not afraid of the dark, but I used to be.
I got the devil on my throat. I got blood on my hands. The ones that I love are in danger. I'm a fallen man. But I found me a river, and it washes me clean. Know that I'm drowning for trying, but I'll never leave. Know that I'm found, but I can't keep from hiding. Don't have a choice, but I get stuck deciding. I am a man in need of a constant revival. Jesus, come quickly, I need you for my survival.
Got a lock on my soul, but I'll never let you in. Got the hounds of hell chasing, my time's running thin. But I found me a rhythm, and it breaks down my gate. Sometimes it's hard to just listen, but I'm making my case.
Know that I'm found, I can't keep from hiding. Don't have a choice, but I get stuck deciding. I am a man in need of a constant revival. Jesus, come quickly, I need you for my survival. Like flowers need sunlight, oceans need high tide.
Like men need long life, know that they ain't right.
Like lions need their pride. It's a matter of your time.
I need you for one and so long. Know that I'm found, but I can't keep from hiding. Don't have a choice, but I get stuck deciding. I am a man in need of a constant revival.
sun is leaning on the darkness again, and we sing, oh, deliver me. I saw images of God reflected out upon the deep by prehistoric stars through millennia of grief. Spiritless and haunted like some ex-carnate beast, still I feel the ancient lights of heaven pressing down on me. The day changes at midnight, but you don't know it till the morning light. The footsteps of the midwife are already in motion, and in motion we sing, oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me, yeah. The sun is leaning on the darkness again, and we sing, oh, deliver me. We traded souls on the shores of Babylon, and they brought yours down to the floor, man. I was sure that mine was gone, but everything inside me wanted somewhere to belong. But something deep inside my body screamed that all of this was wrong. The day changes at midnight, still you don't know it till the morning light. And the footsteps of the midwife are already in motion, and in motion we sing, oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me. The sun is leaning on the darkness again, and we sing, oh, deliver me. Every human creature is a galaxy of thought. You could spend your life on one, and it wouldn't be for naught. Do you look at many people, but you see so very few? From the disenchanted distance, it's what desperate people do, yeah. Day changes at midnight, still you don't know it. For another 6 hours, and the footsteps of the midwife are already in motion.
we're going to transition into our next part of tonight in the awards ceremony. Our first award is just a few moments away, but first I want to kind of recap the season to date and how we got where we are. Over the past 8 weeks, we've seen 32 games, 32 opportunities for players to separate themselves and build their legacy. Tonight, we will celebrate those who have exceeded the norms and put the extreme in Vero Extreme Football League. These players are not only embodiments of what it means to play in the VXFL, but paradigms for summer fun. Before we give these finalists the glory they deserve, however, let's take a look back at how we've gotten to this point and the teams that have fostered these exceptional talents. First, I'd like to talk about my own team, the Hammers. We're 8-0. It's been a great season. Yeah, clap it up, guys. Yeah. We have some great players. I've grown to know so many of them so well. From Jamie, I'm seeing Jimmy, Caden, really talkative, Parker, leads league in sacks. Just become great friends. We've had a great season. Starting out week 1, going and beating my brother, and finishing beating my brother. It's been a great season. So yeah, that's the Hammers, yeah. Next, I'll go to the Aces. I just talked about beating them. But the Aces started off kind of hard. They started off 0-4, I believe, and then really turned it around. With the help of some key players, Josh Nolan, Colin Maldonado, I see you guys over there, Stephen Delory, they acquired midway through, and then Jackson Gravely picking up the reins at quarterback, really turned their season around and landed them the 6th seed in the playoffs next week. Next, I'll talk about the Hunters, led by Omar Guevara here. They started out not so great against the Pioneers, but turned it around quick and won a lot of games very quickly. Cameron Burns was a big player for them, as well as Peter DeLuke. He's right there, yeah, Cameron Burns, where are you? Yeah, and Andrew Clipson, although he missed a few games, has a lot of touchdowns for them. He's been a big player, and I know they have one of the most fun times out there. They're one of the most spirited teams. I'll call it spirit. I think they also lead the league in unsportsmanlike conduct. Yeah, that's right. The next team is the Hustlers. That's led by Liam Livingston. They have the 3 seed in the playoffs currently, and they've had a great season. They find ways to win games. They don't always score the most points, but they have great defense, led by Louis DeShower and multiple other guys, Willie Pfeiffer, Evan McLeod, and Don Quill Wesley has a lot of picks as well. That's the Hustlers. They have the 3 seed, and they've had a great season. Our next team is the Dimes, led by Jackson McGuire. They're also a very fun bunch of guys. With Tim Brown out there, Jaheim is out there, Cornell, you're bound to laugh, especially when you watch Tim run and juke out Louis. They've had a little bit of a rough season as they have the 7th seed, but they've always managed to make games exciting. I think putting up the most points in the league, or second to most points in the league, always making great plays, landing on the top played reels, and so I always enjoy watching the Dimes. Our next team is the Giraffes, led by Will Wagner. They have the 2 seed. They've had a great season. They first win of the year against the Goblins, came back down 18-0, scored 21 unanswered points to win the game, and that's really just how their season has been the rest of the year. They find ways to win, and they just have fun doing it. Ryan Strigley's been a great player for them at QB. Gavin Tierney here has been nominated for a lot of awards, been a great player. Liam Basura, he's missed a few games, but a key element. Peter Gumpel, even at center, I think has 11 or 12 catches. Just an all-around team effort from every guy. I know I can't mention all of them, but just a great team. And also the Pioneers, kind of the Hammers' arch nemesis here, but I love them all. Led by Austin Kupfer, great coach, and then Trevor O'Brien at quarterback, Brock Thomas, wide receiver, Will Morgan, just a slew of guys who can make you pay if you don't focus every play of the game. I don't like playing them because they're very, very good, even though they are the 4th seed. They had a couple of injuries that hurt them late in the season, but a great team and also very fun to watch. You never know what might happen when Trevor O'Brien and all those guys are on the field. And our last team, unfortunately, Peter Wixon could not be with us tonight, but the Goblins, they get kind of a hard time because they are 0-8, but they're a good team, especially when they all show up. They've had some tough breaks with guys not being able to make it certain weeks, but you have guys like Amarion McMillan, Mason Sweats, Jarrett Wolf, Jared Rivera, and then Jordan Gurton late in the season. He's picked up the last 4 games, and I'm scared to play him around one of the playoffs. They've had a great time out there. They're one of the best dressed teams in the league, I think so, with headbands, arm sleeves, glasses. It's pretty great. So that's the Goblins. They're the 8th seed, and they play at 9 o'clock on Saturday. We've seen a lot of players separate themselves as well. We had a lot of guys do it in the very beginning of the year with Louis DeShower racking up a lot of yards and a lot of interceptions in the first 2 weeks. I think Jimmy Perbula had 4 touchdowns week 1 and continued his tear. And we had guys later in the season, like Trevor O'Brien, who scored 10 touchdowns in the matter of 2 games. Just incredible numbers. And then Gavin Tierney had 2 pick sixes in 1 game just a week ago. And these players have really started to separate themselves, along with countless others, to be in the situation they are tonight. Finally, this season has been truly indelible in every facet of the word. The impact it has had on myself, others, and the community will last a lifetime. In spite of a worldwide pandemic, summer heat, and crazy schedules, this league persevered. It persevered when no one thought having 8 teams was possible. It persevered when the odds were stacked against it, week after week. Now that we are this close to the finish line, with the end in sight, the pains of our labor are finally being seen. But by no means is this ceremony a culmination of what has been created here. Rather, it's a celebration of what a community can do when they come together. It's proof that this world can still work together, that helping your neighbor and a love for others isn't dead. It has been a time to build relationships and forge new friendships, to make connections through a shared passion and competitive spirit. And we know we still have 1 week left, and I hope that we all can keep being competitive, being passionate, but also being such great friends, and the bonds we've formed can linger for the rest of the season. So now we're going to go to our most dedicated award, my favorite award. We have so many players that deserve it, so many guys that help us out. So Preston's going to come up and get us started with this award. So give him a hand as we announce our most dedicated player.
Thank you all for coming. Maybe you're like me and came to see if it'd be a train wreck, and that is to be determined, but I think we're doing all right so far, and I appreciate y'all coming out, and the food was great. So without this league could not have happened without all the volunteers we had. So first, before we can even talk about the most dedicated player, I'd like everybody who volunteered who is not a player to stand up. Yeah, could we give them a round of applause? Thank you. It's expected of our players to volunteer, but these people, they volunteered just because they wanted to see the league succeed, and without them, that would not be possible. But now on to our most dedicated players. I usually wouldn't do this, and we don't do this with the rest of our awards, but I'd like all our nominees to come to the stage. That is Trevor O'Brien, Jared Rivera, Alex Charist, and Mark Hawkins. So Jared is a few minutes late coming off work. He usually is dedicated, I promise. We'll start with Trevor O'Brien. Trevor is one of the first people to show interest in our summer league when we announced it was going on. He was even at the end. He was at the end of our last season and one of the first people to join this year. As you can see, it is rumored that he quit his job to play in the VXFL and be able to make those Saturdays, and for that we are grateful. The first thing you see when you come out and watch Saturday is you see Trevor's obvious talent. He is well above most of us, especially when he spins that football, and he leads his team very well. But what got him this award is his dedication to not just his team, but the league. He showed up early the first couple weeks to help set up and stayed for cleanup. He's a competitive leader, but he's always helping, whether it's in the broadcast booth or with chains or just helping organize people. He's there for us. And on top of that, he didn't miss a single game for his team. So that's Trevor O'Brien. Next up is Jared Rivera, who I hope walks in right about now, but no avail. All right. But Jared, he's one of my favorite guys in the league, a guy I met who's so much fun, so friendly. When we saw him at the Combine that first time, we knew he'd be a great player on the field. He's got size, he's got speed and quickness, and he's got the strength, but we had no idea he'd be so dedicated to the league. Throughout the weeks, he really stepped up. He filled in for a lot of teams. When teams didn't have 7 guys, he would be their 7th player, sometimes playing in 3 games a day when we needed it. He showed up early, or he stayed after to help clean up, and was a friend to everybody there. You can always count on Jared if you needed something, and he would do the task that nobody else wanted to do. So thank you, Jared. Next, we have Alex Charist. I love Alex. He's on my team, and I was so grateful to get him his first win in the VXFL this year. We all know last year he was with the Gunslingers, and unfortunately, the one game they won, he was not present for, so I was so happy that he could get his first win with us. Alex has been a great team member on the Aces especially, showing up to every practice and only missing 1 game. It's been a joy for me to see him improve As Jackson Gravely back there can attest to, last week his hands were exceptional. And it was phenomenal seeing him get his first catch 2 weeks ago for a conversion attempt. Alex has volunteered 21 out of the 24 games he's played in and brings his own computer to compile the stats and keep those for us so that we're able to do stuff like this. And he does that not just at the games, but at home and on his own. He also stays after to help us clean up, which, as I've mentioned before, is quite a task. So thank you, Alex. Now, Mark is a guy. Mark is next, Mark Hawkins. Mark is a guy that we knew from the combine would be very dedicated. I saw it when he was asking me to get extra reps after he already took the most there. So that's something you see as a coach and you're pretty excited about. I think it's probably why Peyton picked him up. But Mark has volunteered in 20 out of 24 games he's not played. He does the jobs that nobody else really wants to do. He's on the camera, he's on the chains and the heat, and it's hard to find people like that. Most people just want to sit in the shade, do PA, do broadcast, and we're thankful for those people, but without people like Mark, it's not possible. And on top of that, he got his family into it, reeled it in, and Abby, I know she's back there, she really helps out on the camera, and without his family, this league would not be possible, so I want to thank them. So thank you, Mark. Now, I wish I could give an award to all of y'all, because without y'all, this league could not happen. But unfortunately, there's only one award. However, we did get some Chick-fil-A gift cards for y'all. It's not much, but it's the least we could do. Without further ado, your most dedicated player is Alex Cherist.
I just want to thank everyone coming out here tonight, really helping with this league. I did the first season of the VXFL, it was not as well put together as this year, but, it was very nice. But with all this dedication, I want to thank, the Keene family, all the other owners, and all the fans and volunteers for coming out and helping. Without this league, nothing would be possible. This comes out for a lot of kids as just something to do during the summer. Spend some free time and do stuff. Besides just sitting around the house and doing nothing, which I'm sure a lot of us would be doing without this football league. And I just want to thank everyone for being here.
All right, next we're going to transition in some of our superlatives, and Will is going to lead us in that.
All right, so our first superlative of the night goes to best performance. This award goes to the individual who had the best single game this season. As all of you know who showed up this year, we had a lot of great games. If it's Cornell, Tim Brown having a perfect game at quarterback, but one game reigned supreme over them all, and that was Ryan Shrigley's Week 7 performance of the Pioneers. Ryan led the Giraffes to a 40-32 win over the Pioneers while throwing for 294 yards and 5 touchdowns. He added 27 yards on the ground to put his total over 300 yards for the game, which is a VXFL record. Playing with Ryan for 2 years, I can safely say this is one of the best performances I've seen in our league. Our next superlative goes to the best dressed team. As the cliche goes, you look good, you feel good, you play good. The Goblins definitely looked good, and that's why they're this season's best dressed team. It seemed like the whole team came every week dressed to impress. This includes Jordan Girton and Jared Rivera's calf sleeves, Jared Wolf's hoodie, and Michael Dilk's wonderful hair. I know Michael's here somewhere, and his hair looks good as ever. When it comes to fashion, the Goblins went 8-0.
All right, folks, I'm going to make this quick because I have to go to the bathroom. They say defense wins championships. Interesting. That might be why my team's the 7th seed. Good defensive players always redefine the game of football, but the great ones strike fear in the heart of every offense and makes a coach's job a living nightmare, and trust me, I should know. I'm happy presenting this award tonight because after years of terrible defense by Vero Beach High School, there's still hope to put on for our city. Tonight, we're gathered here to show recognition to 4 players who have been above and beyond and shut down some of the best offenses in this fine city of Vero Beach. Although I speak highly of all these guys, I have a deep hatred as well because as a quarterback in this league, my knees tremble when I face these guys on the gridiron. But that's enough. Let's meet the nominees. Starting first is Gavin Tierney. Gavin played one of the best defensive seasons I have seen as a lifelong Jaguars fan. That really doesn't say much, though. He led the drafts to the number 2 seed and had 5 interceptions, 2 of which he returned for a touchdown. Next, we have Louis DeShower. Louis may not have the stats of these other players, but neither does his team, and they're somehow the 3 seeds, so you never know. He led his team to huge wins and was a shutdown corner that made QBs in the league look the other way, and had 3 interceptions and multiple pass breakups to solidify his campaign. Our next guy was a pivotal part to the Hammers' undefeated season. Although Parker Townsend might not look like your average defensive end, he's breaking that mold with a league-leading 23.5 sacks. Parker has a lightning-fast first step that leaves centers more confused than my father when I told him I'm getting a mullet. Last but not least is Jonas Taylor. He was a very under-the-radar player this year, but he was the runner-up for total sacks, recording 17, all of which came in huge moments. He was a huge staple for that Hunters defense that no one really feared, let's be honest. Jonas was someone you can't forget by the way he danced past everyone's way. All right, folks, the winner for Defensive Player of the Year is Gavin Tierney.
I just want to thank Coach Wagner and the Keens for doing all this for us. Shout out Giraffe Nation over here. And I want to thank Louis DeShower and Trevor O'Brien for throwing me a couple interceptions to help me win this award. Go Giraffes.
And next we have a couple superlatives led by Preston. Led by Omar.
All right. So this year we've had some amazing players all around. Some drafted as high as 8 with Andrew Klipstein. Some drafted as low as, I don't remember. Who was the last pick again? Miggy. Miguel Rivera. All in all, anybody can be talented anywhere that they fall in the draft. And I think one of our biggest steals from this year has to be Donquell Wesley. Showing out, I think late like 8th round maybe, 6th to 8th round. He played a phenomenal season. So far his stats this year are 286 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he even threw in a sack there. Overall this year, he's one of the more polarizing players. You love to watch him play, but you hate to play against him. He's one of those guys that's like very annoying, but like he's so good that it backs it up. And you just have to give it up to Donquel Wesley. Every football team has their 12th man, whether it be Vero's 12th man, which is a huge reason why we won so many games over the years, or here, where all of our fans, all 15,000 that show up every single week, they go and they cheer their hearts out. But I think the best fan base has to go towards the Collins family over there in the back left. Every single week, being out there every single week, cheering on Dion and the Dimes, really being a ref, I have actually a funny story for it. There was a play where Dion was running down the sideline, he scored a touchdown, and I put my hands up to initially show that it was a touchdown, and I accidentally dropped the flag. And immediately I heard it from every single one of them saying, "Oh, don't you do that to my baby, nah, this, that, the other." And something about it was almost nerve-wracking. It's I don't want to throw a flag because what might happen with me against the nah. But they are easily one of the best fans, or one of the best sections of fans that we have in the VXFL. So again, round of applause for the Collins family. As we'll be moving into our Offensive Player of the Year candidates, led by Austin. We actually have one more superlative, which is our Young Gun of the Year, led by Preston.
Before I move into our next superlative, Jared Rivera did get here. So Jared, you join him on the stage real quick. I have something for you. Unfortunately, you did not win Most Dedicated Player, but we have to show that you actually are dedicated. You didn't skip the award ceremony. We have a Chick-fil-A gift card for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
So if you give a round of applause for Jared. Thank you, Jared. All right. Most people know the VXFL as a high school football league. Yet there were four actually, kids that decided they wanted to brave the 18 to 19-year-olds and play some football. Those four were Dion Collins, Donquel Wesley, Jackson Gravely, and Dawson Bennett. These players competed with a lot of us who have already graduated high school or going into our senior year, some that might even have kids, supposedly. If you know, you know. But it was a joy to see these players play. They were just as competitive, and most of the time, better athletes than some of our high schoolers. So it was great to see them compete, and I'm glad that every one of them could play. So our winner for the Young Gun of the Year goes to Jackson Gravely. Jackson had a phenomenal season, and he's in the leaderboard for passing yards, and stepped in really our second week as quarterback for the Aces. He really led the team, and he wasn't just a guy throwing the ball. I can attest that at practice, he was drawing up plays and getting guys in order. He wasn't sitting idly by and quiet. He's a vocal leader, and if you came to the games, you know that. So thank you, Jackson, for a great season and your leadership. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm here to present the Offensive Player of the Year. You know what they say, offense wins games and defense wins championships. But you have to win games to win championships and to score points. And to win games, you must score points. A great offensive player is priceless. And while defense gets us on the edge of our seats, offense gets us flying out of it. Here are the contenders for Offensive Player of the Year. First, we have Brock Thomas. I don't know where he is. Brock? There's Brock. Goes by the Brocket chip or Brocky Poo. Either one works. And he has a freak ability to just make plays anywhere on the field, get open. Yeah, phenomenal ability he has. He leads the league in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and overall receptions. And he has proven to be a consistent threat on every snap. He has 535 all-purpose yards, 6 touchdowns, and he is a 2-time Player of the Week. Next, we have Jamie Prabula. By far has the best style on the Hammers. By far has the best style on the Hammers with the signature pink chubbies he wears every week. Always seems to be level-headed, cool, calm, collected, and has scored up to 4 touchdowns in a game. And he always seems to have a crazy, stellar performance. Can do pretty much anything on the field, whether it be, well, this is an offensive award, whether it be running, catching, and even throwing the ball. He has 800 all-purpose yards and 14 touchdowns. Next, we have Trevor O'Brien. He leads the league in a lot of things, really. He leads the league in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, passing yards, passing touchdowns, total yards, and total touchdowns. He scored up to 6 touchdowns in a game, and overall someone that every team he plays against loses sleep over. I'm on his team, so I don't really have to game plan for him, but I'm sure it's a nightmare for all the other coaches. He has 1,468 all-purpose yards, which is by far the leader in the league, and has 27 touchdowns, which again is by far the leader in the league. Finally, we have Tim Brown. He's known as many things: the magician, the tank, and the trampoline. Has arguably the strongest arm in the league, and is unanimously known as the people's champion. Everybody loves him. I don't know how anybody could not. He's by far, it's not even close, the best quarterback on the Detroit Dimes. He has 612 all-purpose yards and 9 touchdowns throughout the season. And the winner of this year's Offensive Player of the Year, let me put that back in there, is going to be Trevor O'Brien.
Am I good? That's going to look really good in Seacon. That's championship trophy right there. I like to thank everyone in this league, the Keens, everyone that supports. There's a lot of people. You guys do so much, and everyone appreciates it, and you guys mean a lot to everybody. I like to thank my teammates. None of those numbers up there mean anything without the help of Austin snapping the ball, Brock catching it, any of the other receivers, the game plan, the film studies we do. Blessed to receive the honor of Offensive Player of the Year, but I want to dedicate this award to the best offensive team in the league. So yeah, Pioneers on top.
And next, we will be going into our superlatives.
So we have some more superlatives here. First off, I'd like to go with the best play from this season. And, you know, we've had a lot of great plays. Each week we post our top 5 plays, and they're all pretty crazy. The best passing plays, best catching, best running plays, best interceptions. We've seen all of it. And as a lifelong Jets fan, I don't get to see a lot of good plays, so it's a good thing we have the VXFL. The best play for this year goes to Amarion McMillan in Week 2 versus the Hunters. Amarion in this play was double covered, had a one-handed catch in the end zone. It's going to show right up here. Right over Andrew Klipstein and Cameron Burns.
Oh, wow. Wow. What a catch by Amarion.
And we've had some amazing plays, but this one clearly stood out. I think it took the most difficulty, the most skill, and Amarion's been one of the best receivers in the league over the 4 games he played. All right, so next we'd like to go on to the best game from this year, and this game was back and forth between both teams. It was a really high-scoring game. We saw some crazy performances, some more top plays, but the best game for the VXFL season goes to the Pioneers versus the Giraffes in Week 7. This game was very important for the seeding as it was really late in the season. The Pioneers were 5-1 and the Giraffes were 2-3 going into the game. and included a one-handed catch by Brock Thomas, followed by a kick return by Gavin Tierney. Ryan Shrigley's performance of the year with 294 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. It was just an insane game. Trevor O'Brien threw for 178 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. It was a back-and-forth matchup, and it was a great game to watch. Now we will be going on to the Most Valuable Player Award, led by Peyton Keene.
I'm excited to have the honor to announce the most prestigious award in the VXFL, our Most Valuable Player. There are so many players this year that have performed great, had great seasons, but there are 4 guys who really stood out, and these 4 guys are the ones who we're going to see today. Our first one is Jamie Perbula. Jamie was taken in the 2nd round, and quick story, the first practice we went to, our team wasn't looking too hot. I think Jamie probably dropped 3 to 4 passes that one practice. Also, fun fact, on the season, I don't think Jamie's dropped a pass. So it was a quick turnaround, and that's why he's one of the MVP candidates today. He has 16 total touchdowns, 2 pick sixes. He does anything you ask him on offense and locks up the best receiver on defense. The most pass breakups in the league. He's always doing what you ask. He's level-headed and a great leader for our team. I really couldn't imagine having anybody else on our team to fill that role. We have a lot of guys who lead, but Jamie's just really up there, and I'm really blessed to have him on my team. That's Jamie Perbula. Our second guy is Gavin Tierney. Gavin just won the Defensive Player of the Year. He plays great defense, but he also does on offense. You can see right there, he has over 20 catches for over 200 yards and a lot of touchdowns, as well as a kick return on defense and on special teams in a very key game and a very key moment. Gavin plays soccer, so I was kind of hesitant to draft him, and boy, am I really regretting the fact that I didn't draft him. Great player, great height. I really shouldn't knock soccer because he did pretty good against us too. So yeah, Gavin Tierney, great player and great job winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Congratulations. Our next guy is Trevor O'Brien. You just met Trevor. He's a character, but also a great player. You can see on offense, he's unstoppable. One of the scariest players in the league to game plan for, and I'm really hoping I don't have to see him in the 2nd round of the playoffs. Trevor had 27 touchdowns on the year. Yes, 27. Also an interception on defense, and does anything you ask him. Great team player. He's dedicated, but also a leader in their team. Their huddle at times can get chaotic, but he's always there to reel it back in and steer them straight and drive them down the field for the score. And he's a big reason why they've been successful this season. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the playoffs and even at college as he goes off to play college football at Manchester. So that's Trevor O'Brien. Our last guy is Cornell Wilson. I don't think Cornell can make it tonight, but he's exciting. He's one of the guys on the Dimes like Tim Brown, who's loud, who's energetic, and you just really love to be around. Cornell has 20 catches on the year for over 300 yards. He's a big playmaker. He's always a vertical threat going down the field. I know Jackson loves him. I know Tim just throws it as far as he can, and somehow Cornell catches it. A quick story on Cornell. So we're playing him, I think it's week 3 or 4, and on the very first play of the game, we try an onside kick because we can't kick, because I didn't draft Gavin. And sure enough, Cornell jumps the snap, or jumps the kick, and takes it to the house. The very next week, he does the same thing against the Goblins. I guess people don't learn, or he's just that talented, I don't know. But the stats don't lie. He's a very talented player and very well-deserving of this Most Valuable Player award. Cornell Wilson. And without further ado, it's time to meet your 2021 Most Valuable Player. Your Most Valuable Player of the year is Jamie Perbula.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
What a speech by Jamie Prebula. All right, guys, one group that we haven't thanked tonight that's had a big role in our season and really helped us back in March when we really were getting started and really needed direction. FCA, I know JR is here somewhere. Where are you, JR? Yeah, thank you, JR Crooks, back there. He's helped us a lot, been at every game, volunteered. I think he reffed every game for the first 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Really a big help and a great guy. If you haven't had a chance to talk with him, you really need to. He's a great guy. I love him. I'm going to know him a lot over these last few weeks. As we're coming to a close in our night, yeah, give it up for JR. As we bring a night as we close the night out, I'd like to welcome senior pastor at Pathway Church, Pastor Brian Bennett. As many of you know, the VXFL is an outreach as we're partnering with FCA, and we really want to promote the gospel and glorify God in all we do. And Pastor Brian here at Pathway Church has helped us a lot, letting us use the field especially, but even tonight. And he's going to bring a message tonight that I know we all need and that God's prepared for him. So, Pastor Brian, thank you.
Well, this is incredible, isn't it? It's so amazing what these guys have done, and all the coaches, the owners, is that what you call them? And the chaplains. Can we just give them a hand? You guys have done such a fabulous job. We as a church, and I know you heard from Dr. Smith earlier, have just been so honored to host you. And my son is one of those young guns. He was on the giraffes, Dawson. And so it's been a ton of fun for me to show up every Saturday and to watch this. And as somebody who used to play, who also coached, and has been around leagues, this has been one of the best, if not the best run flag football league I've ever seen. Just amazing job. So, and to all of you that were honored tonight, congratulations. I appreciate, as we looked at this back in March, the guys' heart. Their heart really was that there's more to life than just competition. That there's more to life than just some of the things that we put our hands to and some of the dreams and goals that we chase. That there's a bigger picture. And in fact, that's what I want to share with you for a few minutes tonight. And I promise to keep it brief. But if you go back in the Bible itself, in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, it describes this creation of our world. That in fact, animals were created and the earth and the sky, and then God created man and said, I've created man and woman in my image. In the image of God, we're all created. And yet, if we look around at our world, many of us would say, boy, there seems to be something off, something wrong. And in fact, we can see that actually in Genesis 3, that the two first humans that were created, Adam and Eve, had actually partaken of a tree, it says in Genesis 3, of the knowledge of good and evil. And because of the knowledge of good and evil, they chose, because of free will, to begin to exercise that right. And that right often that we choose on our own leads us down paths that are destructive. And really from that moment in Genesis, when sin entered into the world, we were separated from God and from one another. And one of the incredible things is, if we look at history, is that that's still what many of us are yearning for today. We live in a very difficult, divided world, a world that is often competing for our attention, is often destroying one another, whether it's verbally or even physically. And in the middle of that mess, we serve a God that absolutely didn't just create us, but loves us and created a plan to help get us out of the mess. And so some of you, if you've been around football like I have my entire life, you've seen maybe on a poster board, that John 3:16. And what that verse means, if you've never looked it up, it actually means that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever would believe in him would not perish, but have eternal life. The very next verse, verse 17, talks about this reality that same God who loves us and sent his Son did that not to condemn us, not to say, hey, you're a sinner and there's no hope for you, you aren't good enough, you missed the mark and you didn't achieve it. But because he loves us, it actually says he did what we couldn't do. That in fact, when Jesus came, he was sinless. Can you imagine? Like, how many of you have messed up in the last week or two? Nobody's going to raise their hand, right? But the truth is, like, we all make mistakes. We all miss the mark. And as a result, a holy God who is distant and separated from us because of that sin, Jesus steps in, sinless, Son of God, takes the cross. And I'll tell you, as a former football player, when I used to look and people would talk about Jesus in church, I'd be like, man, he was weak. Like, can we talk real for a minute? Like, I used to think like Jesus got his tail kicked. And then I read actually in the Gospels, in Luke chapter 15, it says that Jesus actually resolutely set his face to go to Jerusalem. That he actually set his face. You ever seen somebody with a clean jaw, a cut, that made a decision and a commitment? That no matter what's going to happen to me, I'm following through, I'm committed? That's Jesus. He loved us so much that he turned, even though when he knew when he arrived in that city, he would be beaten within an inch of his life. He would be flogged, his back shredded, 39 blows. That's what Scripture teaches us. He was then hung on a cross. Often, the cross would lead to suffocation. Jesus' case, he didn't suffocate. He actually, in the end, said, "It is finished." He voluntarily chose the cross out of his love for us, and he also voluntarily gave up his life. Now, if that was the end of the story, it would be sad, and we wouldn't be talking about Jesus today, would we? But you see, 3 days later, Jesus rose from the grave. He defeated death. He defeated sin and suffering once and for all. And because of his resurrection, he offers us life and life abundantly. Now, I knew a lot of that when I was many of your ages. I grew up around the church. I could pass the test. I knew what Jesus did. But somehow Jesus was in my head, not in my heart. It hadn't really connected. And somehow I had missed the reality and the message that in fact, because of what Jesus did, that he had a walk for me, a relationship, that he cared about my every day, that he cared about what happened at school, he cared about my future, that he had a plan. And I got caught up and I fell away. So much so that athletics, when they weren't enough, I played football, basketball, and baseball. I was the 3-sport captain. And when those things would not fill me up, I turned to alcohol and partying. By the time I was 17, 18, I had handed many of my friends their first drink. You see, what I had missed was in John 10:10, Jesus in fact said that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. You need to know there's an enemy that would love nothing more than to take you out. Because he knows his days are numbered. He knows he's been defeated. He knows when Jesus returns, it's over. And so his plan between now and then is to get as many people off track as possible, to steal, kill, and destroy. But that very same verse, this is the part I had missed, it says that Jesus said, "I've come to give life and life to the full, life abundantly, life," my translation, as it was meant to be. You see, when you receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you receive the forgiveness of sins, but also entry into a friendship and a relationship with God who says, "I got a better life for you than you could have ever imagined." And it takes just beginning to let go and say, "Jesus, I want to ask you into my heart. I want to ask you into my life. I want to let go of control." You see, not only was I the kid that went astray, but when I was 18, a freshman at Western Michigan University, I was completely suicidal. I'd given up on life. It was actually in a moment of desperation when the enemy, I think, was knocking at my door, trying to steal, kill, and destroy, that I finally let go of my stubborn desire to control my own life. Because I believed in Jesus, but I didn't believe he had a good plan for me. I had missed that. Thankfully, some people were praying for me, Thankfully, I let go, and in that moment, God didn't just save me to go to heaven, but saved me to give me a life that was better than the one that I was trying to come up with on my own. And I just want to tell you, over the last few years, Ephesians 2:10 has been one of the most impactful verses, and it's something that I had missed growing up in the church with messages going in one ear and out the other. Anybody else? Nobody? All right, a few people from Pathway, thank you. Super helpful. No, it's the truth, right? So in Ephesians 2:10, it says that we are his masterpiece. You may not feel like a masterpiece right now. You may feel like more of a mess. But when you invite Jesus in, when you say, I need him, when you're sick and tired of doing it your own way, and you invite Jesus in, he says, you're my masterpiece. I want to shape you. I want to mold you. I want to prepare you. Goes on to say that he has created good works that he's prepared in advance that we would walk into them. We don't even have to script it anymore. We just follow Jesus and he leads us forward. And I got to believe that in this room, there's some of you that for the first time you're going, oh, that's who Jesus is. That's what his death means. That's what his resurrection means. I got to believe some of you you've heard it, but you're maybe a little like I was when I was 18, 19. You're not ready to really let go, and maybe God's knocking at the door tonight, and he's saying, hey, it's time. It's time. And others of you, you're just as excited as I am because you know how good God is, and you just want nothing more than the men and women in this room to receive that. And so the good news is, and my hope, is that you will take the time, whether it's tonight or during the playoffs, to take a moment to look around you to realize that every adult that's present as a part of this league that's volunteering their time would love nothing more than for the real reward to be you saying yes to Jesus. He's that good, and he has that great of a plan for you. And I know if you don't trust the adults, that's okay. I didn't either. I didn't trust adults when I was your guys' age. But I trusted my peers. And you've got a couple of great guys that I know would love to talk to you and would love to tell you more. So that's it. How's that for 10 minutes? All right? I want to pray for you. And, sometimes in these moments we can ask, and give others the opportunity to pray as well. What I'd really like to do is just pray for you, and then I'd like to make myself available. So I'll just kind of hang out. If any of you want to talk, if any of you, want to push back on anything I said, or you have more questions, or you're like, hey, I think it's time. I'd like to ask Jesus, into my life. Or maybe rededicate your life. Maybe you're like I was, where you knew it, but you walked away for a while. I'll be around, and I'd love to talk to you tonight. Let me pray for you. Father God, we love you, and we thank you. We thank you for each and every person present here tonight. And the good news, the gospel, that God, what we couldn't do, it's not our good works, because we all make mistakes. It's your grace, your mercy, your son Jesus, who died for each and every one of us. I pray, Lord, that wherever they're at in their journey, that your love would be knocking at the door, that they would know there's no mistakes, that everyone has been created and crafted by you for a purpose. And so, Father, tonight I pray that if you're knocking on the door, that there would be even one that would just say, yeah, it's time. I need Jesus in my life. I want to follow him. God, we thank you. Thank you for this league. We pray that the playoffs and the rest of the celebration tonight would go well. Just thank you for the safety that's been around this league, and we just pray for your continued peace and your blessing on it. And we thank you again, Jesus, for what you have done for us. In Jesus' name, everyone said? Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Brian, for coming and taking the time out of your day to share that with us. Our night's coming to a close, but there is one group of people I have not thanked, and that is our parents and our sister. They've been at every single game, and they've been behind the scenes even tonight. Our dad has been with us since the very beginning, since the very first Fieldside Chat, manning the audio, manning the cameras, and doing the things that we know we can't. Our mom has manned cameras for the past 5 or 6 weeks, but been out there every single week. And our sister's given up every one of her Saturdays to man concessions. So if you guys could thank them for me, I'd appreciate it. And our girlfriends, Tessa DeLange and Sarah Moosberger. They're not here tonight, but thank them as well, I guess. Thank you, Jackson, for saving me there. As Pastor Brian alluded to, our playoffs are coming up. They're this week, starting on Friday at 9 a.m. We have games at 9, 11, 1, and 3. Stay tuned on the Instagram and Facebook to know when your team plays. We have a short little video to prepare you for this week, so take a look. But don't forget on your way out to buy a program and to talk to people and thank them for their time, especially our volunteers. If you guys need more food, we have plenty, I'm sure. Grab some dessert. You have something? Okay, never mind.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
All right, guys, thank you for coming out. That concludes our ceremony, but before you leave, I forgot to mention the food pantry here has a bunch of meat that they can't use, and if we don't get rid of it, it's going to be thrown away. So if you want some meat, pork, bacon, all sorts, just go see the food table over here. And in just a minute, go see the food table, and we'll sort that out. Also, if any volunteers want to stick around and help us tear down, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you all, and have a great night.
All the times that you feel so alone, and when you don't know where to turn or to go.